G'day. G'day ladies and gentlemen, this is John Green from Green Ideas. I've got a very serious video to make today. I've got two of these bad boys. They're car jacks, I think they're rated to 3 tons or something. And here I've got my I-beams that I made. Yeah, I know that top piece is a little skewed, but it only has to hold the weight. It doesn't have to hold the shape. This is the place that has sunk so badly over this time. You can actually see there's about maybe even 6 inches between this lowest beam and what looks like original high beams there, which have the original concrete work done in there. Here, the beams have literally shifted and separated from the concrete. I'm certain they are full of termites, but the termites are gone. The termites were there a long time ago. You can actually see the wood up there, the quality of the wood, full of holes. What I need to do is I need to reinforce these beams. I'm going to be doing that over the next day or two. I'm going to reinforce them with, I think, 10 by 2s. Yeah, I'm going to reinforce each of these beams basically, and then I'm going to use these heavy ass 3-ton jacks, basically one at each end of this room, with my I-beams I've already made, and fit them one along there and I think one along the middle, because the middle of this room is saggy, whereas this end is actually not bad. This end of the room seems to still be holding the original form from when it was built. Who knows how long ago, 300 years ago? But maybe this wood's not 300 years old. Maybe this wood is, I don't know, 100 years old. And I just wanted to keep going on that video where I was trying to show you what was going to happen to these joists. It's a big project. It's a very big deal to move this floor, because at the moment the floor is quite dangerous. Oh, what a nice bit of concrete work. Alright, that was just me reinforcing the wall beforehand. I've patched up all the really big holes and filled them with rocks and things. Yeah, you can see that. There's been some work done. Here I've already put in the first, it's not a 2x4, I think it's a 2x5. But anyway, it's just rough cut wood. It's very strong, but at any rate I'm going to be putting a bit of wood or a plank on either side of that joist. So you can see I've put one up here. These two I only put some short joist supports on, because that part of the wall is actually intact. All I really want is more surface area, so that when I finally put these I-beams up, which hopefully will be today, that these I-beams will get more support because of these joist supports. Of course, these two only have short ones. They've been treated, that's why they're green. But anyway, the rest, you can see here's a 2x4 or a 2x5, and I'll be putting one on either side of that floor joist. It doesn't have to go all the way across the room, because this side of the room is actually intact. This part of the floor is still straight and there's no problem with it. And so I only had to use half lengths. Goes about half the distance, a little bit more than half the distance of the room. Alright, you can watch me doing this. I don't know if you can see it properly, but I'll play it in fast forward or something, because I'm sure it's not that interesting to watch someone just screw in 2x4s. At any rate, I have to put in 12 pieces. And these 12 pieces are going to help support the floorboards, but mostly they're just there to support the joint. or the joist, I should say, not the joint. Alright, so I'll just film me putting these bad boys up. I don't know how long how it's gonna look. Yeah, alright, that looks about right. Alright, so I'll just film this, maybe a bit time lapse, so you can just see all the work getting done. I'm just supporting the floor joists with extra 2x4s. It's that simple. I don't know if they are 2x4 or 2x5, but they're pretty decent. So yeah. It's imperative, it's absolutely imperative that each 2x4 has to be dead flush against that that floor joist. If it's not flush, it's not going to have that much strength. If you're putting these big screws through and there's a few millimeters of gap, the only thing holding up the floor is the joint in the screw. Whereas if it's all flush and compressed together, the joist itself behaves as one large piece of wood and supports much more weight. But if there's gaps in between, there could be movement over time, and even the screws could break or separate, and that doesn't make a very strong floor joist. So now I've got to grind off this nail that's up there that's stopping me from putting it on flush. This is dangerous as hell, being on a ladder and using a grinder. Always wear safety equipment when using tools like this, especially gloves. I've cut myself. It's not much fun. But I've taken off the safety guard so I get more access to things. You might complain about that, but I get a lot more use out of this when there's no safety guard on it. Especially these weird tight situations. That's your... Sometimes the nails and things aren't really apparent, so they've been painted over and things like that. I'm going to go through and make sure everything's flush. Just keep on doing what I was doing before, and this should be done in no time. You're trying to do the best you can. Because all these pieces of wood are quite straight, except the original joists are not. So it's a constant battle of squeezing and pushing and pulling to make everything square again. And the squarer it is, the easier it'll be to work from. That's why I'm not removing all of this. I mean, some of you might think, oh, wouldn't it be easier to remove these joists altogether and put new ones in? Maybe. But I go along with what that guy from Home Renovision said. If the job is 90% okay, meaning only 10% of the floor is missing, if 90% of the job is alright, then you can finish the job. You know, patch the hole, cover it up. But if you try to remove all of this, then you have to do 100% of the work. And I don't know if I want to invest that kind of money when I could literally just patch it all up, make it strong, support it, put a new floor in, and it's like there was never a problem to begin with. I don't need to put a whole new floor in. We're not really using that space upstairs for much, probably just for storage. So as long as it's strong enough to carry boxes and people walking around, it's not for machinery or anything heavy. So these will definitely do the job of supporting that. Right, I'm about halfway done. You can see I put a few bits up there to try to strengthen it up. It's working out pretty well. Here, I was a bit nervous what to do because there's a giant gaping hole in the roof, and I started wondering, you know, should it be a good idea to basically put one of these 2x4s straight up like this to help support the floor, and then also put the joist support. And I thought, hey, that sounds like a pretty smart idea. But then I also thought I should probably keep doing what I'm doing. You know, it actually makes sense what I'm doing by sort of thickening up the bottom of each joist here. I have more surface area which will be supporting these I-beams, and I don't think I need to support the floor, because what's going to go up instead is going to be marine ply, and marine ply doesn't really, it's not going to be these thin long things. It can cover huge expanses, including this big hole in the floor. So I can just keep going with doing what I'm doing. I'll film the rest of it, try to get a different angle for you. I hope you can see what's going on. Alright. The handle. Real high tech. Like.
There you go. That's the handle. Are you filming? Alright.
I want to see if this thing's doable by myself. My wife is behind the camera. Hey babe.
Hi.
Yeah, so this is only being propped up by these two pieces of 2x4 or 2x5. So it's a little bit dangerous right now. But I'm all by myself, so I wanted to see whether or not one person can do this. I want to lift it up using these 2x4s, which I've cut down a little. So should be able to fit under there, alright. One of these. And then I'll try to jack it up with this bottle jack. But I think I need a metal plate because the top of the bottle jack is going to squash the wood. And it's just going to get pushed up into the wood. So first I have to find a little metal plate that I can use. And then I'll try it. Right, you can turn it on.